Firing at the Shama border can be heard in this footage. At least 9 people were killed and over 40 others injured as Afghan border forces opened fire on security personnel guarding a census team in Balachista's Shama area early Friday. Shama Civil Hospital's medical superintendent, Dr. Akhtar, told Dawn News that 5 children and 3 women were among those killed, whereas police confirmed that 4 Frontier Corps (FC) personnel are among the injured. Dr. Akhtar added that over 40 people had been injured, with 5 critically wounded victims sent to Quetta for medical treatment. In a press statement issued Friday afternoon, the Army's media wing said the exchange of firing had stopped and Pakistan and Afghan security officials would be meeting on the Shama crossing for a flag meeting. The Director Generals of Military Operations of both armies also established hotline contact ahead of the flag meeting. The Army said Major Gen Sahi Shamshad Mirza had condemned Afghan forces' unprovoked firing on Pakistani villages and security forces while underlining to his Afghan counterpart that the Pakistani forces and civilians who had been attacked were well within Pakistani territory when assaulted. He also asked the Afghan DGMO to limit their forces to their own side of the border and defuse the situation. The Shama border had been closed soon after the hostilities started. Shama city was also shut down following the attack, with shopkeepers shuttering their shops and residents evacuating their homes in Kili Luqma, Kili Jahagi and Bad Shah Ada Hole. Killer Abdullah's district police officer, DPO, Sajid Mohammad, said. Security had also been ramped up in Quetta and other parts of Balachista following the cross-border attack, and additional contingents of the Army and FC had been dispatched to the Pak-Afghan border in Shama, Dawn News reported, quoting military sources. The Foreign Office, FO, also summoned the Afghan Chargé d'Affaires to lodge a protest against the cross-border attack. The Chargé d'Affaires was told that the unprovoked firing by Afghan forces had led to the loss of lives, disrupted the census in areas on the Pakistan side of the border and caused damage to properties, a statement released by the FO said. The FO urged the Afghan government to take action against those responsible for the violation. Samim Balwak, spokesman for the governor of Afghanistan's Kandahar province, in a statement to AFP said that 1 Afghan civilian and 3 border police forces personnel were also wounded in the exchange of fire. He added that the scuffle was ongoing, with dozens of Afghan security forces rushing to the scene. Afghanistan was informed of Census Inter-Service Public Relations, ISPR, had earlier released a statement saying the Afghan border police opened fire on FC personnel detailed for the security of a census team in Shama despite the fact that Afghan authorities had been informed in advance about the census exercise in Pakistan and coordination was carried out through diplomatic and military channels. Since April 30, Afghan border police had been creating hurdles in the conduct of census in divided villages of Kili Luqma and Kili Jahagi in Shama area, on Pakistani side of the border, the military's media wing said. FO spokesperson Hafiz Zakaria during a weekly briefing in Islamabad also confirmed that Afghan authorities had been informed about the ongoing census exercise. Zakaria said that the census team was fulfilling its duties in the area and the exercise was taking place within the jurisdiction of Pakistan. The Kandahar governor's spokesman, Balwak, however, claimed that Pakistani officials had strayed onto the Afghan side of the border and were attempting to count people living there. The FO added that Pakistan the right to retaliate after the exchange of fire, but said that Pakistan's efforts for peace in Afghanistan would continue. Dialogue is the only political means available to us to establish peace in Afghanistan, Zakaria said. Early reports during the cross-border attack, mortar shells fired from the Afghan side had hit houses in a village of Kili Luqma, leaving 1 person dead and many others injured, Station House Officer, SHO, Shama Maksud had initially said. At least 3 children were among the injured, he had said. He said the injured were shifted to the civil hospital Shama, where an emergency has been imposed. 4 of the injured are said to be in critical condition. One of those slain was identified as 17-year-old Mohammed Ashraf. We were sleeping when we suddenly heard firing and blasts, Haji Ayub, a resident of Kili Jahagi told Dawn News. We immediately left our houses and came to Shama Bazaar. Abdul Mati, a resident of Kili Lukma said FC personnel were guarding the census staff in his village when the Afghan forces opened fire on them. I lost a close relative in the attack, he said. Exchange of fire at Torkham later in the day. An exchange of fire was reported at 2 checkposts at Torkham border between Pakistan and Afghan armed forces, Dawn News reported while quoting military sources. According to the details shared by the officials, Afghan forces kept firing at Iqbal Post and Post 2 at Torkham border for at least an hour. Pakistan also retaliated to the firing, they further claimed. Meanwhile, the political administration said that a curfew was implemented in Khyber Agency following the exchange of fire at Torkham border. Tense relations. Pakistan had closed its borders with Afghanistan at Shama and Torkham on February the 18th after a series of terrorist attacks in the country killed over 100 people. Militants having sanctuaries in Afghanistan were blamed for the attacks. After over a month of closure, Prime Minister Awaz Sharif had ordered the reopening of the borders as a goodwill gesture. The latest violence at Pak-Afghan border has come days after the visits of 2 high-profile Pakistani delegations to Afghanistan aimed at easing the tensions between the neighboring states. Speaking to the media upon his return from Kabul, NA Speaker Ayaz Sadiku had said that the Afghan leadership had promised that the Afghan president and the country's chief executive Abdullah would visit Pakistan. Earlier this week, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani declined invitations extended by top civil and military officials to visit Pakistan, saying he would not visit until Islamabad hands over the perpetrators of terror attacks in Afghanistan.